Welcome. This is the signature Lite, and I want to turn it into a firefly. It has scissors, a pen for signatures, and a small light, like a firefly. The knives with white LEDs are fairly bright, but the red ones are disappointingly dim. Let's get started by removing the scales. I'm going to use the sharp edge of this can opener. I bought these on eBay because the new ones are pretty expensive. Here's the light, and with a fresh battery, here's what it looks like. And here's the model with the white LED. But we need a different color. A yellow-green color. These have a similar low voltage as well. This color's perfect, but it's barely visible. Let's try a regular green one. That's much brighter. Even better than the red one. The leads are slightly bent, so I'll replicate that. Now let's solder these on. That wasn't too hard. Now let's test it out. Very nice. I made sure to put the positive on the same side, but somehow it still got reversed. So the battery's upside down now. Now we can make the firefly. I want it to look something like this. Send that over to Nomad on the iPad. I'm starting with the clay tool to build up the glowing segments. The crease tool can help define them. I'm using the move tool to stretch the shape into position. Now I'm drawing on the legs with the brush tool. Stretch the bee's knees. Now I'm using the crease tool inverted to add some crisp edges. And here's the final sculpt, encased in carbonite. The outside's complete. Now we gotta make room on the inside, which means a lot of measuring. I made the shapes in Tinkercad. Now I can merge and subtract them from the sculpture. We've got all the files. Now it's time to print them. This time I'm using the new Elegoo Mars 5, this video's sponsor. The build plate latches on with a convenient lever, and because it's self-leveling, it's ready to go. It has camera monitoring, but the best part is this innovative tilt release. Now the model can smoothly peel away between layers without the build plate even moving, making for a much faster process. USB is now optional with Wi-Fi connectivity. Here it is in my grow tent, next to the Saturn and cleaning station. Watch the time between exposures. 2.5 seconds. That's just as fast as the exposure. I printed these translucent red for fun, but opaque resin is much easier to look at. And here's the bugs back. I went through a few iterations, changing the battery door, as well as changing the dimensions to fit the larger chip and battery of the white LED models. And the door disappeared. It went that way. As the scale got thicker, I had to design a taller button. Now I can print the final model in clear. Everything works. I also made a tweezer version for the Swiss Lite, and picked up another handful of these. Next up are the wings. Why not incorporate the tools themselves into the design? I'm going to use this paint marker as a mask, drawing on an insect wing pattern, and some nail polish to protect the cutting edge of the blade. The plan is to etch these with ferric chloride. This process takes 2 minutes. These get dunked in water with baking soda to neutralize the acid. Now they're safe to be rinsed off and handled. The next step is acetone. You can find this as nail polish remover. Here are the finished wing blades, with the pattern on both sides. Now it's time to paint. I'm using transparent paint to match the look of the insect. Now red, with some white and yellow, to get the perfect red. I'm switching from this transparent black to opaque black. Here's the difference between those two. Next, I'm adding black to yellow with a tiny bit of green to create this yellow-green, and diluting that with balancing clear. I'm adding some opaque white to create a gradient, and a similar color for the button. Now I'm switching to candy paint, which is a transparent dye that I've mixed into some clear gloss. This is just a slight green tint. I'm using another candy color here for a transparent base coat. Now I'm switching to opaque brown for the body and head, and the battery door. Some black shading, and a little red. We can do the rest with a paintbrush. Airbrushing is somewhat forgiving, but these lines need to be clean. Now I need a custom purple. You can see that color in this photo. These guys are stuck down and ready for clear coat. I did 4 coats of enamel, waiting a couple minutes in between them. Let's put this beetle back together. The final step is gluing these scales on with epoxy. Swiss Army knife scales get snapped onto the rivets, holding them in place. We can replicate that by filling these holes with glue. The epoxy resin will harden around the rivets like plastic. Now these need to quickly be clamped down. This is 5-minute epoxy, but it wasn't fully cured until at least 12 hours later. Nice. Can't forget the battery door. Well, they're all finished and ready for daily use. These will be on my Etsy shop, as well as the transparent red scales. If you want to print your own, you can download the files on my Patreon. Skeletal Crew. Polymer People. Fine Detailers. Terraformers. If you liked this video, check out my new second channel, where I make content like this. See you next time.